What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the latest episode of WWE Break It Down featuring Asuka. So this one was interesting because it's the first episode where she speaks entirely in Japanese, and they just put subtitles on the screen. I mean, isn't this what they should do for her promos as opposed to... And her promo, like her English speaking ability isn't terrible by any means. But I feel like they write her promos in a certain way where she comes across like a goof on purpose. And that's not because of her accent or the fact that she rambles in Japanese or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. It's just how they script her. I thought she came across amazing here. And maybe because they had the subtitles there or whatever. I don't know. I just think her promos on Raw and SmackDown and shit are just completely terrible. And that's not really her fault. But I thought she was awesome here because usually they don't do this type of thing with... people who don't speak English usually, like Nakamura. Did they do Nakamura on here? They might have done Nakamura a while ago. Let me look real quick. I don't think so, but I'm just double checking. Now they did KO Drew. Now they've never done Nakamura. But yeah, for Asuka here, she spoke entirely in Japanese, and they just had subtitles at the bottom of the screen, which I thought was honestly really, really cool because we don't hear from Asuka too often for stuff like this, so I thought that was awesome. The first match that she broke down was the NXT Women's Championship match against Bayley at NXT TakeOver Dallas. It was WrestleMania weekend in Dallas in April of 2016. She could feel the people's energy that night, and she was in the process of leaving a good impression on the fans during her winning streak. She was very excited, but she knew that she had to win. And the fans were very divided down the middle because they wanted Bayley to win, they wanted Asuka to win, but she knew that she needed to prove herself to the WWE Universe that night. And Bayley knew that she couldn't lose due to the fact that she was a longtime title holder going into that match. And Asuka said that it wasn't the most perfect match, but it was definitely a fierce match. And it wasn't something that they can recreate now, and that's what makes it interesting. And they've had a lot of matches in 2020, a lot of good matches. But she said that, as good as their matches have been this year, she didn't say that part specifically, but she did say that match was just different, that TakeOver Dallas match, and they just can't recreate that same feeling today. The next match that she looks at is the NXT Women's Championship defense that she had against Ember Moon at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 in August of 2017. She said that she had a lot of memorable matches in NXT with Ember Moon, just in general, and she set a lot of records. But that match specifically represents how she became the face of NXT while the NXT Women's Champion. And if she were a fan of the WWE Universe at that point, she would have cheered for Ember too, because fans really wanted to see Ember be the one to end her title reign and break her streak. And Asuka said that she was naughty and ambitious as a result of that because she wanted to keep her reign intact that night. Everyone believed that Ember was going to win when she hit that eclipse. And she could feel people's frustration when Ember pinned her and then Asuka kicked out of it. And during their matches, they would always stir up emotion and excitement, and that was what made that match and all their matches more impactful. That ended up being her last match in NXT, and being in NXT taught her a lot, she said. She said that it taught her how to be expressive and how to play to the crowd and how to play the crowd up and stuff like that, really play to the audience. And she said without NXT, she would not have been able to accomplish what she has on Raw and SmackDown, and that's a part of her legacy. The next match she breaks down is the Women's Royal Rumble match, the first ever from Royal Rumble 2018. She said that she could hear the chants and the cheers before she even got to the ring. She was very nervous, and she wasn't sure how the fans were going to react that night in Philadelphia. And she heard just an absolute roar when the song hit, when her music hit. She could feel that roar, and that made her very happy, and that gave her strength, she said, going into the Rumble. It was her first time facing the Bella Twins, and she didn't know how to approach the 2-on-1 situation, and this is where she kind of gets kayfabe here, but I thought this was cool. They went against each other, which helped out Asuka, and while that was happening, she strategized while she was wrestling to kind of figure out, okay, how can I take Nikki out to win this match? And she made the right moves in the end, and that's how she ended up winning. And she's still in awe of that moment in retrospect, because again, she's set records, she's done a lot of cool things, but winning that first Women's Royal Rumble match was surreal to her. It was indescribable and unbelievable. And I think the last match here, the last match they break down was the triple threat match from almost exactly 2 years ago at TLC 2018 between herself, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair for, at that point, Becky Lynch's SmackDown Women's Championship. It was the main event of the night, so of course she was very nervous. She was very exciting. She was shaking going into it, especially considering who her opponents were. She says a lot. She praises Charlotte and Becky, but she really takes a lot of time to praise Becky, like for a while. She doesn't say a lot about Charlotte. Although I'm sure she likes Charlotte, she had a lot to say about Becky Lynch. She didn't know what she was doing, she said, but she calls Becky Lynch phenomenal, and that she could feel that the fans were behind her on that night, and that always pushed Becky during her matches. She found her very engaging in her presentation to the audience, and her presence was captivating, she said about Becky, and that she truly was the man. That was for Charlotte, as far as Charlotte is concerned, that was her second match with Charlotte. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm pretty sure they had a second match on TV after WrestleMania 34, and WrestleMania 34, of course, was when she lost to her. That was when she lost her first ever match in WWE, got pinned for the first time, or submitted, rather. Lost 1-on-1 for the first time, so she knew that she couldn't lose again. And I think that was, again, they had another match on TV before that point, and I think it was on SmackDown, and maybe it was like a DQ win for Asuka. I don't remember, but it was one of their first few matches after WrestleMania 34. And for her, it felt unattainable for her to ever win a Raw or SmackDown championship, and that was a big opportunity for her to win the championship, main event that show, and she wasn't going to let it all go just because it was a big stage. She wasn't going to let that opportunity pass her by. And she still, to this day, remembers the view from the top of the ladder from when she, unhooked the championship and won the title, and how happy she was when she won that match. So to end the episode, she talks about how she always puts on that mask, the mask that she wears to the ring and whatnot. It's called, I think, a no mask. N-O-H is how you spell it. I'm not sure if it's pronounced no or if there's another pronunciation for it, but she always wears that mask. And now when she puts it on and walks out there, she turns on a switch. And she feels strange whenever she doesn't wear that mask. And Asuka wouldn't be Asuka if she wasn't wearing that mask. And she can't separate Asuka from the mask. And she also said that Great Muta inspired her watching her when she was growing up. Watching him, rather, while she was growing up. Now, crowds always went crazy for him. And how, in watching him work and how crowds were going nuts for him, that she wanted to be exactly like him. And that she wouldn't be in WWE today. She wouldn't be where she is today if it wasn't for the Great Muta. And that's kind of the note that they end on here. So, overall, I thought it was a very good episode. They break down 4 different matches, 2 from NXT, 1 from the Royal Rumble, and 1 from TLC 2 years ago. It sucks they couldn't get like the Becky match in there from the Rumble this year, or the first Becky match from the Rumble last year. But either way, I thought this was really cool. And again, I thought the subtitles they did a very good job with and were a nice touch. Although they don't break down a ton of matches, only 4 of them, they spend a lot of time on each one, so I thought that was well done too. But another very good episode of WWE Break It Down featuring Asuka. You can check it out right now on the WWE Network. But yeah, check out all my other WWE Break It Down reviews right here in the channel, in the description box down below, in the playlist entitled WWE Break It Down Reviews. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have an awesome one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.